Tonight, I'm going to read y'all an article. And I think this is a very important article, and that everyone that watches my channel, everyone that has the same opinions, the same concerns, the same cares, I think everyone should hear this article now, given I'm sure that many of you have already read this article. This article is written by a Norwegian man. His name is Vegard Solheim. He is a Norwegian author. He has written a couple of books on Nordic and Germanic paganism. He has a YouTube channel called Odelsarven. It's a great channel. I've watched all of his videos, and I will say that his videos, they were a sort of inspiration, you could say, as to why I have started making videos. This article that I'm going to read you is on his website. It's www.odelsarven.com. I will post a link to it in the description box below. This article is very important, and honestly, it is the most concise, direct, and best summation of our current predicament, in my opinion. And all the credit goes to him, of course. I really can't add anything to it, to tell you the truth. So let me read it to you. Now, he is a Norwegian man. I'm reading the English translation here of his article, and there may be a couple of small, very tiny grammatical errors, and just look over that because he gets the message across nonetheless. And honestly, that's one thing that I admire about Europeans, is that many of them, the vast majority, it seems, are multilingual. They speak their native tongue, they speak English, and they can usually speak a couple of other European languages as well. That's an advantage that they have over there in Europe, compared to the majority of us over here in America. But I think everyone should read this article, so I'm going to read it to you. And feel free to go to his website here, and he's written many interesting articles. Most of them are in Norwegian, but he also has a lot of them translated into English. So let's get started. The fear of being called a racist. Let us get things straight at once. The official definition of a racist is a person who shows or feels discrimination or prejudice against people of other races, or who believes that a particular race is superior to another. Racist is a buzzword thrown out from all angles and at every opponent of the new liberal order, and often at persons that would provide good arguments that are hard to contradict. These days, we see an accumulating push of the general anti-racist agenda. In the aftermath of the death of Africans living in America under what is known as police brutality, there are many interests linked up to these riots, from simple thieves looking for something to loot, to NGOs backed by billions of dollars to paint a mirage, to political interests, pure troublemakers, the anger of losers, victims of pure propaganda, and so on. It is all mixed up in a chaos of despair that a few benefit from, and normal people, the majority, suffers under. This unbalanced, so-called racist police brutality is not backed by any reliable statistic. There is brutality against white people too. But it is used as a spark to revolt with a complex underlying foundation. What is obvious from a logical and decent perspective is that the anti-racist agenda is the most racist of all. The white native European population, including Europeans living in America, seems to be eternal, submitted to the original sin of any possible ancestor, any historical event, either historically right or wrong, mostly wrong. Any movement named White Lives Matter is defined as hate, while Black Lives Matter is praised. Even All Lives Matter is considered racist. Submissive white people, even the police, are taking a knee because Jewish ships arrived at the U.S. shores with slaves for their plantations in New Israel. It is also absurd that it becomes comical in a tragic way. Well, back to the definition of racist. I would argue that every healthy human being of any race is racist. It is the most natural thing in the world. Ask yourself these questions. Do you not care more for your own children than others? Do you not care more for your family than others? Do you not care more for your kin than others? If you are from Africa, do you not care more for your fellow Africans than for Europeans? If you are from Europe, do you not care more for your fellow Europeans than for Africans? Of course you do, if you are not sick. And by doing that, you naturally discriminate. If you as an African care more for your fellow Africans, you are not only discriminating, but you also have prejudice. It is the most natural thing in the world, and there is nothing wrong with it. If it was not so, you would probably not be walking on this planet right now. It is all basic survival instincts. Why is it so that if you watch mainstream news and see a major long-lasting report of something meaningless at your local level, then followed by a 5-second short report of 100 killed on the other side of the globe, even if it is even reported, is all natural? There, we have the superiority question in the definition. Individuals are different. They come in all types, in every race, but race is not a social construct. Secondly, there are differences, both physical and mental, quite significant differences, generally speaking, differences that have been shaped through thousands of years in the process of natural selection and natural habitats. All that leads us to culture, and culture eats modern systems for breakfast. A native Congolese would be superior to a native Norwegian in the Congo. Without a modern and artificial civilization, without constant shades, sunblock, air conditioning, modern logistic systems, and physical abilities like short muscle fibers and low fat percentage to naturally get food, the Norwegian would soon die if he did not move back to his natural habitat. A native Norwegian would be superior to a native Congolese in Norway. Without a modern and artificial civilization, without constant artificial supply of D vitamins, heating, modern logistic systems, high fat percentage and long muscle fibers to get food, and the mental ability and culture to plan and have foresight, the Congolese would very soon die of hunger and disease if he did not move back to his natural habitat. So I am not a white supremacist, but I argue that a native Scandinavian is superior in Scandinavia. That is all, and best of all, Mother Nature agrees with me. The fight against the so-called racism is doomed to fail. You have to remember that the problematic issues with racism occurs in multicultural societies, ergo, in an unnatural society. You can use the coming years to read the world's written history, the last 3,000 years of it. You will find no examples of functional multicultural societies, not a single one. What you will find is decay, turmoil, blood, genocide, and desert. The multicultural project has failed, and it was always a failure. Everyone likes their own best, and that should come to no one's surprise. What allows a multicultural population to even artificially exist and to revolt, loot, use violence, destroy, and protest is the government and institutions that they think they revolt against. Such a society needs first and foremost compliant slaves. If we return to the somewhat 3,000 years of written history, you will find no bigger paradox than what we are witnessing these days. So yeah, I think that's a very important article. There's nothing I can add to it, literally. And as I said earlier, all the credit goes to Mr. Solheim for a fine article. So I would recommend to you all, if you haven't heard of this man already, I'm sure many of you have, to check him out. Thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.